everyone, Ronnie B here, hi. Just a quick hello in all my holiday glory. Hair not done, no makeup, just hanging around the house. It's my come as you are party. And I'm going to show you my craft room because I've had a lot of people asking me, what's your craft room like? I bet it's really great. I don't think it's probably not what people are thinking or imagining. It's very messy usually, and I try and make it workable rather than a pretty showpiece. So it's a real working space. Anyways, so I come inside my craft room, this door right here behind me. That's my entrance, and I'm just going to flip around and show you what's on the other side. Okay, so over here I come in and I've got my craft smock, my art craft smock right there, ready to go. I really need to put a bit of a hook on the back of the door, which I haven't got around to yet. And then I've got this display along here, so this storage along here. So I've got my TV, which I do watch a lot of things on TV. In terms of, I watch a lot of YouTube, so a lot of tutorials, or I even watch documentaries, or mostly things where I'm learning something I like to watch. Occasionally I might slip back into the 80s and watch something from the 80s. Very scary. And underneath that, I've got my Cricut heat presses. So the Easy Press 9x9 mug press. I've got a hat press and a mini press down there. And underneath, down the bottom, I've just got a bunch of bins that I've got just full of stuff. Just stuff. So over here, I've got my buttons and sequins, so I can do card decorating or journal decorating, or embellishing on little projects that I'm making. So I love to do stuff like that. I've got one of my first little rolled flowers there, which is looking pretty sad, but you know, it's a reminder. And then I've got some ribbon up here, string and ribbon in these containers here. And over the top up there, I've got, yes, 3 current projects I'm working on. My little Christmas soldier, Nutcracker Soldier, he didn't quite get finished. I got a bit busy, but I'll get back to him. And I've got a journal at the top and, 2 current projects, sorry. I think I've combined a couple there. And then I've got these ready to iron on decals, which are decals I bought. I don't really use them that much, but I've got them there. I'll probably have to use them up to get rid of them. And then I've got some fantastic paper for vintage journaling. So I've got that in there. There's some really old, beautiful old music books and sheets and some really gorgeous, really old graphics in there. And then I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I use for journaling. So this is all my journaling stuff. So there's washi tape and there's ephemera, stickers, die cut letters, ephemera papers and cutouts and stickers and a whole bunch of stickers and just different papers and things like that I use in my journaling, and that kind of goes all the way down. And then I've got also, I'll just come around. Yeah, so then I've just got also more ephemera and some journal card blanks so that I can just create my own journal cards just really simply. And that's basically from index cards. And then I've got sewing kit for stitching up the journal, so actually making the actual journals, not just buying journals. All right, so then I come around here. I'm standing now in my U-shaped work area. So that's what this looks like. So I can sit here in my chair. So I've got my chair here. So I can sit here in my chair, and then I sit over here usually when I'm not at my computer. So my chair usually kind of sits there, and I'm working away, and I've got tools there. So I can sort of swivel to the left if I want to get on the computer, or I can swivel to the right if I want some extra working space. And then I've got, of course, one of the people that works said, you've got to have a wheelie trolley in your craft room, Ronnie. And I said, yeah, I do. I actually have a couple, but that's my favourite one there. So, yeah, I've got this wheelie trolley, so I can move that out of the way if I want to. And sometimes it does live over here. Just leave it there. Sometimes it does live over here when I want it out of the way. It depends what I'm making. But usually I like to keep it close by because I've got my hot glue sticks in there. I've got my favourite of all time favourites, Sweet Petunia glue press, which is here. Lifesaver, game changer. Definitely got to have one of those. So there's my trolley. It's got a whole bunch of mixed things. It's in an absolute mess. I have not got to that trolley to tidy it up yet. I have lots of bins around too because I like to just put rubbish in the closest possible bin. I've got my designing space here, my workspace when I'm doing work for school. And then across here around this way, I've got my cute little shadow boxes that I made. I love those boho shadow boxes, and well, it's actually rather large rows, but that's my cutting station. So at the moment I've got out 2 Maker 3s and a Joy. I'll probably put a Maker 4 up just to keep making things much, much quicker than what I am making them at the moment. So I'll put my Maker 4 up. It's downstairs at the moment because I've been running some classes and it's easier if it's downstairs. But it'll come up for the holidays, I think, and it just depends when I get some more bookings to go out into stores. So then I've got a whole bunch of drawers there. Well, not a whole bunch. I've just got a few drawers, which has kind of got some stamp stuff. I've got my crocodile in there and some brads and eyelets and just some of my docs, and both drawers down the bottom have got old books that I'm pulling apart as I go when I need pages for journals, and I've just got when I'm making vintage journals. And then in this drawer over here, I've just got, just the daily stuff. I've just got some, hand wipes and my silicone bead pens that I give away, and then I've got my phone tools and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for that space. Then I've got my gorgeous AutoPress sitting on this trolley. I think I got this trolley from Spotty, and so the three containers on top here, they're just scraps. So the bottom one is for particular projects, the middle one's for patterned scrap paper, and the top one is for other scrap paper. And then I just today started this new folder, which is right here as well. So I just set this up last night and today. And so what I'm doing now is I'm actually colour coding my scraps. So I'll just give you a quick look at that. I think this is, I don't know if it's going to be painful to keep doing it or whether it's going to be good, because I've decided I'm not going to put paper in it every single time I cut paper, but when I do a clear out, I'll add it into here, because I was taking it to school, but I've got a lot of paper at school, a lot of scrap paper at school, so I'm not going to take any more for a while. So I've just kind of colour coded it, like the pinks and the yellows and oranges and some greens, and just kind of mix all the shades together this stage. So I've just done that sort of thing just to kind of keep it a little bit neat, because I know lately the way I'm working, I'm kind of looking for particular colour scraps, and I'm thinking, I've got to search through. So it's actually quite good. I'll put that back in a sec. All right, so over here, I'll go back under here. Underneath my AutoPress and in the bottom trolley here, I've got a bunch of border cutters. I've got some Ziploc bags there, but I've got a whole lot of paper punches. So there's a whole range, and in the very bottom drawer, that's where I've got some scraps that I've laminated paper, and I don't want to throw it away because I probably could put vinyl on it and make signs and stuff for school. So I'm just hanging on to that for the moment to see how I go. Then up in this one over here, so this is now, I've come in, I'm going to just do a quick back step. So I've come in, you see I've got my TV, I've got all journal stuff, heat press stuff over here, my working benches here. So that's my working space, my creating, putting it all together kind of space. And this is my stamping space. I'm going to come back to that other cupboard over there in a minute. So stamping, inking and stamping space. And also on this shelf here now, I changed up. I did have all my heat presses on this little shelf. This was the last shelf to come in. I think I got it from Kmart. Pretty sure I got it from Kmart, and it was like $45 or something ridiculous. It was really cheap. So I've decided now I've got all my stencils and stamps down the bottom, and then I've got a whole bunch, so there's wooden stamps and all sorts, and then I've got a whole bunch of clear silicone stamps there, and then I've got my blending brushes and stamping inks there. Then across here, so I've got my glass for stamping, and then I've got all the blending brushes and all the tools I need for stamping here. And I've just left these things because it's easy. I know where they are. It's easy for me to grab some clips or some bands if I need them. And I've just got a whole bunch of the stamps here. So just enough for stamps. So these are all my vintage style stamping. These are when I want to get to colour. But up here, these are the ones I use the most for all my vintage journals. So this is one of my favourites. So Ganache Stays on Ganache is one of my favourites. So I use that. But then I've got my Tim Holtz my stamps as well. So I've got my Distress Oxides and my Distress Inks in there. So they're the ones I use mostly for when I'm vintage journaling. So I leave those up there because that's kind of like a set and I use it a lot. And I've got my blacks over there if I need to. And there's a few spares. This is my mug holder now. And my gratitude journal because I'm so grateful. I've got some paints there. They're my chalk paints. Actually, I have not ever used them yet. But I'm thinking I wouldn't mind. I've got some blanks I wouldn't mind doing some chalk painting on and making a few things. I just haven't had time to do all what I want to do. So I just pop these blending brushes or blending tools back. And then I've got my wax press and a whole bunch of, what are they? Foam stickers. So that I've got my foam stickers, all sorts of different ones from different places. My alcohol inks. Oh my gosh, I love and adore these. Nouveau drops. Oh, I just love them. I saw them somewhere and I hadn't used them before and I bought them and I didn't know which colours to decide. So I just bought a whole bunch and I want to go back and I just want to get the whole range. They're so gorgeous. A whole bunch of different scissors, my silica mats for gluing. Hot gluing usually I use them for. A whole bunch of Cricut Maker and Cricut Joy pens, infusible markers. I've got my porcelain markers, my acrylic markers, whole bunch of different lots of tape up there, glues on my board, which came from IKEA. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot of people when they set up their craft room, these displays look amazing, and they're beautiful and they're colourful. They've got them all rainbow looking and they just look stunning. Mine is just a workbench. It's a workhorse. It's there to help me create and work and make beautiful things, not to necessarily look so beautiful. Well, I hope it looks okay. But anyway, so that's my inking space. And then above that on this shelf, I've got my silicone beads. So I've got a whole bunch of silicone beads. I've got up in this top part here, I've got some tassels and my cute as ever little teal cutie. He's so cute. Oh, and look at that cute little ribbon I made the other day. That was my very first attempt to cut faux leather, and it was super easy, and I just made this teeny tiny one. So I made a couple of other little bows. They're there. I'm going to find someone to give them to. But yeah, I've just got a whole bunch of silicone beads sitting around here that I really need to make more lanyards and pens. And with Mother's Day coming up, I'll be making a bunch for the school. So this is my Cricut Bright Pad. That is absolutely amazing for weeding, particularly really like white or black, like where you can't really see clearly. And I have my bright lamp on too when I'm doing stuff like that. Anyway, that's basically those workspaces. And then, oh yes, this shelf over here. So now I had all of this on the other side of the room, and where all my journaling stuff is, I had that over here. So now over here, I've moved all my paper. So I've got everything I cut with on this side. So in the cupboard in there, which in the walk-in in the minute, we'll go in and have a look. That's my new vinyl organisation, and this is my new paper organisation. So up the top, that's my birthday card from everyone at work. It was so beautiful. I just had to put up flamingos. Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous. And they gave me an amazing gift. I got some chocolates and I got a gift card for Spotlight. How great. Yes, just what I need. Anyway, then I've got a couple of little projects that I've made, and I've bought out the, what's it called? That paper. Crepe paper. I bought my crepe paper out. It was in the walk-in. I bought it out here because I need to see the colours, because I need to be inspired to actually use it. So I've got that up on the top. And then going across, I've got in the top plastic container there just lots of little cut bits where I've got bits left over. I have some of that in my journaling space too, but I've decided to put it over there now. My infusible ink scraps, my HTV scraps, and the one underneath is just regular removable or permanent vinyl scraps. And I've got my cutters. And then underneath that, I've got my cardstock. So this is my 12 by 12 scrapbooking cardstock. So I've started in colours. So these are all kind of along here, all colours. So they're all my colours. And then from here, it starts to get into pads. Like, for example, I've got here my Kaisercraft collection because I love Kaisercraft. And then I've got my Frenchville, and then I've got my my DCWVs and more Frenchville. I've got a whole bunch of different, so then I've got them in different groups as well. So I've tried to kind of categorize them a bit. So I've got my travel collection and my Australiana collection in there, my beachy collection, my mixed scrapbook kits, mixed double-sided. There's some extra notepad colour paper pads I bought, and they're actually just from Spotty and Kmart. I have got a bunch of Kaisercraft paper too, the plain solid block colours, and that paper is just gorgeous. It just cuts like soft butter. It's beautiful. Anyway, so then I've got some celebrations. My 15 by 15 or 6 inch by 6 inch or 6.5, whatever it is, card stock and paper there. I've got a bit of a mixture now. I've probably got some 8 by 6 as well, or 8 by 7, whatever they call it, 8 by 11 or whatever they call it. And then I've got my die cut machine. So I've got my bigger mama and I've got my baba to cut. So I'm going to just play with those a little bit more. I bought some embossing tools, so pads. So I'm just going to play with that a little bit more. And I've got then my die cuts and my plates for them. Just paper down the bottom. Hot glue gun. What is a Craftroom without an entire tub of hot glue guns and packets and packets and packets of hot glue to last you for the rest of your life? And then I've just got some more 15 by 15 paper, vellum paper, handmade paper, and then some felt right down the bottom. And my paper slicer, my school paper slicer. Okay, so then that's my paper. Oh, that's my cardstock paper and my, anyway, there's more paper in here. Let's go in here. All right, so here is my vinyl and infusible ink. So this is vinyl infusible ink. Then going right down the bottom, I have got A3 paper, coloured and white and blue A3 paper down there. And these 3 containers on this side here, excuse my socky, but next to the door, they are my cards. They're my cricket insert and cricket cutaway cards, and also some watercolour cards. So I've got some specialty vinyls up here, my stencil, whole bunch of different vinyls here. Some cricket, some not, because I actually had a bunch of vinyl before I started buying only cricket, and so I've really got to use that and get rid of it. And I just love it. The colours just bring me joy. They just bring me so much joy. Anyway, right up on the top of that, I've got a whole bunch of drawing stuff because I used to do a lot of drawing. So I've got my colour pencils and textures up there. I've got a whole bunch of drawing pencils. So they're all my different, I guess, shading pencils, water paints, oil paints, my Derwent sets, some Easter stuff, some other stuff up there. And then coming around here, I've got my mats. I now keep them in here. I did keep them out near my cutting tables, but I've decided, you know what, there's just too many and it's just too much. So I just wanted to hang them on the wall in here. And then when I need one, I just come in and grab it, and then I take it out and I use it and I bring it back, and it's just cleaner and neater. And where my rose was out there, I want to actually make a nice display with Rani Bee on it. So when I get around to that sometime. So then I've got a whole bunch of blanks over here. So this is just stuff that I've collected. I've got some paint canvases and canvas boards and shadow box frames and framed canvas boards, things like that, and my cricket cup collection that I'm going to be making cups, and just a whole bunch of blanks for different things, cutting boards, fabric blanks, like things like the little cricket purses or beauty purses or whatever. And then I've got, of course, something that continually reminds me I've got to pay taxes and keep my receipts, so I do that. I've got glues, I've got extra blades here, and I've got some floor dots, actually. These floor dots for my classroom, and I'm going to be trying to do some iron-on vinyl for the kids' names for next term and brighten up the floor dots. So I've got also my foam tape, squares, dots, whatever's in there. There's a whole bunch of stuff, double-sided tape, glue dots, whole bunch of adhesives in there. These are all the mats across a couple of years that I've used. I'm going to tell you, Not many of them are cricket. Not many of them are cricket. I've got a couple in there, but most of them will be ones I've used from some other brand, and they do not last. So do not waste your money. False economy. So most of I've got like across 2 years, I've probably got maybe 2 cricket mats in there, and the rest are the cheapies from different places. So it's definitely not worth it. But again, I bought a whole bunch before I decided I was only going to buy cricket, and so I've really got to just use them up. Okay, so then I've got a whole bunch of blanks up the top. I've got journals and acrylic things and wooden keychains and bookmarks and more t-shirts and more t-shirts and more t-shirts because, I don't think I ever actually owned a t-shirt before I started making t-shirts. Now, everything I do is own a t-shirt. I just hung out washing, and every single t-shirt I hung out and pajama top has now been embellished in some way. So I have loads of t-shirts now. I never used to wear t-shirts. Okay, so I've got some scrapbooking books, albums there, some photo frames. I've got them on new mats waiting to be used. Just some stickers and things in there from school. I've just got my camera tripod. Just move that out the way. Yeah, and then just like, stationery stuff. More t-shirts, makeup bags, totes, some empty containers, which is nice to see because I've got room to put some stuff. These boxes down here have photo frames, glass drinking cans, and plastic drinking cans or tumblers to be embellished. So they're to be embellished. And in these cupboards over here, that's all my plasticine. So plasticine, there's a few cutters in there too, because I used to do plasticine art and illustrations. So that's all sitting in there now. In the middle cupboard is all my Christmas stuff, and I think my laminator for school might be in there. So I remember that's where I put it. And then on this side, I've got jewellery making supplies because I used to make a lot of jewellery. But that stuff comes in really handy for journaling, so I've kept it. And it comes in really handy for making keychains and bookmarks and all sorts of things. So I use a lot of the jewellery stuff when I'm making those kinds of things. All right, so the last cupboard, we go around here back this way. And then this last cupboard here, these cupboards are actually not bookshelves. They're cupboards that have doors on them. And at the moment, the doors are sitting at the back behind them because I asked my husband to take them off so that it was a bit easier to just see things and do things. And it gave me a little bit of extra space because the hinges were impacting on how much I could fit in the cupboards. So these are all of these are these paper slide out drawers from Officeworks, and yes, they are a little bit expensive in the way to sort of store paper, but you know what? It's been a lifesaver for me, and if I could get more in here, I would get more in here because I've just got all this extra paper now that I want to store and keep, but you can only... I'm only going to have so much room in the house, apparently. So anyway, that's more containers up the top and a few empties, and those other ones over there in the corner have plasticine cutters in them. So that's just cookie cutters, really. And yeah, so I just bought a whole bunch of cookie cutters when I was doing that and used to make lots of things. So yeah, so there's some papers, and down the bottom there's some more blanks. So they're totes and aprons down the bottom. And that very bottom one is more hot glue sticks because a girl can never have too many hot glue sticks. Okay, so there you go. That is my walk-in robe, and that's done and dusted. So you can see what I've got in there. And then coming out of my walk-in robe, I've got my paper storage. I've got my heat press and cutting machines, bunches of bits and pieces for working with paper and whatever in those drawers. My work and design station. And I don't usually use my work computer at home very much unless I'm actually doing schoolwork. So I prefer to use my own computer. And then I've got my workspace here, which I love sitting at working. And now I've got all those beautiful things in front of me reminding me, don't forget you've actually got to make journals at some point too, Rani, and cards. So there's all that beautiful stuff there. I'm having so much fun in here. I love it. I actually think I really like this new organisation. I'm going to see how I go in this confined space a little bit. It's a little bit confined. I'm going to see how I go. But I do so far like it. And then I've got my stamping station, and I just usually pick up the foam dots and whatever I need to take them across to my workstation. But and then my silicone beads and my stamping. That's it. and that is my craft room. I hope you've enjoyed this very quick tour, although 24 minutes doesn't seem like it's very quick, but it is because I didn't open everything up and show you all the wonderfulness that's in everything. But this is my happy space, and this is my happy place. This is where I love to be. This is where, if you come to my house, I'll be here. I'll be in this space. When I'm home, I'm in here. And I love it. All right, everyone, have a great day. Have a beautiful Easter. Any teachers out there, have a lovely break. Enjoy it. And I'm going to go back and find myself a project to finish. Oh, yes, that's right. I've got to go. I've got to finish Alia's card. Oh, gift bag. Okay, bye, everyone.